14-year-old Jeremy Bright was a popular, sports-loving teenager who looked forward to starting high school in the fall in Grants Pass, Oregon. In August of 1986, the Coos County Fair came to Myrtle Point, Oregon. Jeremy and his sister came to Myrtle Point to attend the fair. They stayed with their stepfather Ollie while there. On Thursday, August 14th, Jeremy called his mother, telling her that he was heading to the fair at around 4:45 p.m. He supposedly went with his younger sister and a close friend, Johnny Fish, possible real name Gray. Several witnesses saw Johnny and Jeremy together at the fair. 5 hours later, at 9:40 p.m, Jeremy went to a local tavern owned by his grandmother to meet Ollie, who had just finished work. Ollie gave him a few dollars and Jeremy left. This was the last time he was ever seen again. 2 days later, Jeremy's mother, Diane, arrived at Myrtle Point to pick up Jeremy and his sister. However, Jeremy was not home. He had left his wallet and new watch behind. When Jeremy did not return that night, Diane called the police. At first, authorities believed that Jeremy had run away to join the fair. However, no evidence was found to support this theory. His family and friends did not believe that he would run away. On Sunday, August the 17th, the fair left town, and rumours began to swirl about Jeremy's disappearance. During the week of the fair, several parties were held. According to one rumour, Jeremy attended one of these parties and was offered a beer that was laced with a powerful illegal drug. One investigator was able to find witnesses that placed Jeremy at 2 parties that week, and it is possible that he died accidentally from an overdose at one of these parties. It was also possible that Jeremy had a heart murmur which caused his death. An anonymous jail source told police an even more disturbing story. He claimed that 3 local teenagers showed up and harassed Jeremy and a few of his friends while they were swimming in a local lake. One of the teenagers apparently had a gun and began shooting at Jeremy for target practice. According to the source, Jeremy was then shot and seriously wounded. The teenagers took Jeremy to a local cabin in an attempt to nurse him. However, he later died from his wounds, according to the source. Then, the teenagers allegedly buried Jeremy's body in the woods near the cabin. Authorities searched the area surrounding the cabin but found nothing. The authorities talked to Cecilia Fish, a sister of Jeremy's friend Johnny. She said that on the day after Jeremy vanished, between midnight and 1 a.m, she and her friend were leaving her sister's apartment when they ran into a neighbourhood teen with blood all over his clothes. Shocked, they asked what happened, and the man responded, "This happened hours ago." The man laughed and then went into another apartment. A half hour later, Johnny arrived at his other sister's apartment. He was shaking and terrified of something, but refused to say what had happened. After 3 months of inactivity, the Coos County Sheriff's Department was finally contacted and asked to assist in the search for his whereabouts. However, to this day, he has never been found. No names have been revealed in this case, although 3 or 4 individuals from the Myrtle Point area have been considered suspects. 26-year-old Megan Curl worked at a local chicken processing plant in Lufkin, Texas. Sadly, her life had never been easy. In 1st grade, she was diagnosed with mild retardation and required to take special education classes. According to her mother Sherry, other children often picked on her and made fun of her. In high school, she and her family settled in Lufkin. When she was 18, she married and moved to Arkansas. However, her husband was very abusive, so they eventually separated. She returned to Lufkin and insisted on getting her own apartment. Sherry believes that her daughter would have been an easy target for a predator, as she was very naive and wanted attention. Megan was a big fan of the nightclubs in Lufkin. It was this love that may have led to her demise, as police suspect that a man she met at a club might have been responsible for her murder. On the night of March 25th, 2000, she went to a local nightclub called the Electric Cowboy, where she was a regular and had many friends. Witnesses saw her talking with an unidentified man who bought her 2 drinks. On this night, however, she was asked to leave because of her provocative dancing. An unidentified man left and went with her a few blocks to another club called the Sports Shack. Another man, a friend who was also an employee of the bar, drove her home from there. She arrived home at around 1:30 a.m. and a close friend, possibly neighbour, Tonya, waited up to hear the details of her night out. She claims that she and Megan were standing outside talking when a man suddenly appeared in a speeding car, coming to a dead stop. Megan said that she believed that it was a friend of hers from the club, so she went down to him. Tonya went into her apartment, and when she came back out, Megan was in the car with the man. She went back into the apartment again, and when she came back out, the car was still there, but Megan and the man were not. At around 2:20 a.m, she went to Megan's apartment to check on her. When she answered the door, Tonya noticed that the man was with her. Megan said that he was her friend from the club, and she said she was okay. Tonya looked down to him, and the man nodded his head slowly, without them exchanging any words. She asked Megan if she was really okay, and she said she was. So Tonya said goodnight and left. This was the last time Megan was seen alive. At around 4 a.m, her neighbours noticed flames in her apartment. The fire department arrived and entered her apartment. They discovered that the fire was confined to her bed. When the fire was extinguished, they made a shocking discovery. Megan's body was tied to her bed. Her body was charred beyond recognition. Her throat had been slashed to the bone, and a plastic bag had been placed over her head. She was later identified by dental records. Authorities discovered remnants of a nightgown on Megan's body. When they questioned former partners, they claimed that her normal sleeping attire was shorts and a t-shirt. They claimed that she would only wear a nightgown if she was going to be romantically involved with the partner. This led them to believe that her killer was someone she knew. Authorities are certain that her killer was the man that Tonya saw her with earlier, but he has never been identified. The prime suspect in the case is a white male with blonde hair, a light moustache and gold-rimmed glasses, and would now be in his 40s. Police also want to speak to a man wearing a cowboy hat who Megan met at the club. He was seen buying several drinks for her, but he is not considered a suspect, although they want to question him for any clues to her murder. He is a white or Hispanic male with dark complexion and dark hair. Megan's ex-boyfriend, Tim Purvis, was also considered a suspect in her murder. Before her death, she had testified about him being abusive, which led to his parole being revoked. However, he died in an accident in 2003. In 2012, a retiring Lufkin police officer stated that they believed they knew who killed Megan. However, they did not have enough evidence to charge the individual, so the case is still unsolved.